Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday Lighting Critique. We've got videos, we've got demo reels, we've got all kinds of good stuff to go through, so we are going to hop right into it. Jordan's demo reel is still encoding there, so we'll look at that last in the videos, but we will start here at the beginning. We've got Andre with our very first submission of the May and June lighting challenge with our robot attack, and he just said what a joy this scene was to work with and set up. You don't have to. No, this scene is a little tricky out of the gate. So if anyone is working with this and struggling with setting it up, it's a bit of a beast, and that's why we kind of gave 2 months to flush out all that's going on with it. So I didn't download, but just wanted to show you for some reference images. It was a very 2001 Space Odyssey. The end of the movie with the floor that's glowing, and I think this is really great reference for this scene. I just think I always thought this was really a beautiful setup. So with that in mind, I think, like, when I'm looking at the layout of this, I think there's too many clean metallic things in the scene. Like, I think if it was mostly, for me, it's the pipes that I think could probably change and go to that like white plastic look, just to kind of, because they really stand out.
Okay.
And I like it more on as her costume. And then on the robot itself, I'm wondering if it makes him. I just assigned a gender to the robot, I guess. If it makes that robot, I always forget there's 2 of them in here too. Right? Because
there's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them. So there's
Two
this
of them are on
one.
the floor.
It's just, so what I'm seeing out of this last one that comes in that has all the metallic bits is that there are already a lot of small components in the robot, right? Like, there's already a lot of like very small shapes because it's just how it's created. I think that by adding this reflective material that picks up even more, it makes the character almost hard to read. And I'm wondering if this isn't an opportunity to put in a little bit of the, there are some like colored elements like the gold or the painting on the wall. I'm wondering if this isn't an opportunity to put in a little bit of color into the scene. And I think maybe just a little bit on the like a plastic or something, like a metal on the robot. It doesn't need to be like roughed up or anything, because I think it actually works pretty well. That that everything is pretty clean in this space. I think that's really cool.
Okay.
So that was my first thought when I was looking at this. The other one is for her. Her shader feels a little bit green on the green side.
Yeah,
On her
I
skin.
I really need to work on her skin and hair still. This was just the one of the shaders that didn't come through from
Oh,
Substance to Maya. So yeah,
cool.
I'll have to work a lot on that.
And then I think it's interesting. So I think that I would play up the underlighting more. Like, especially when she gets down here, I would really want to like feel it up underneath her glowing, right? She's very close to the surface that's emitting light, and I think that would be cool. And it's almost a matter of, I would maybe tone down the light coming from above and make one of them a little bit make one of them more dominant.
Okay.
But it's impressive you were able to get this all rendered out in a short
Yeah,
period
that
of
was
time.
there was a long render, but it's like it's the camera samples is really low,
Yeah.
so
I mean, honestly, it's pretty clean, like, except for some of the reflections and some of the specular values. Like,
yeah.
only the brights and the specks are really noisy, chattery, like just kind of the stuff in her shirt. But a lot of it's pretty clean. So good job there. Um, yeah, but I think the structure, I think the structure and the look are already there. I love, like, there is a coolness in the like, it's very desaturated, right? Like, it's very like white light, but you also have infused a little bit of like a greenish blue that you're seeing in the reference to that I think is a really, really nice add. It's because you can kind of hint your white values one way or another, and I think that level, I think that look is really nice.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any initial thoughts on this? This is a great place to be 6 weeks out from a deadline. Yeah, you're doing good. All right.
I think everything seems very, very clean. I think the robot should have some scratches or stuff to break off the reflection a bit. Even though it really fits the scene because everything in the scene is really clean, so the robot makes sense that it would be clean, but I think you can dirty it up a bit.
Okay.
Cool. All right. All right. Update on this. Good. The glow on the screen looks really good. I think that's nice the way it's kind of cut off there. I still think the second half could use a little more overall light. In fact, could you, next chance you get with this, would you mind just sending me, let's do this. I think this level is pretty good. Just like maybe one of these frames, frame 117, with if I could just get like a couple of render passes, I want to play with the value. Like I want like an ambient light, this glow, and then something on him, because I think the idea is I want this pop to be more still. Because it's like it goes red and it kind of floods the whole room, but I want it to be like I'm trying to think. Like I wish I did these at night so I could show like I have a dark screen right now, and if I popped over into like look at that on my face. Like even during the middle of the day when I pop from this screen to like an all white screen, I don't know, like my face really changes. And so I want to see that kind of. This is the first time I've used my own face as a reference, but I think that kind of pop is something that I would like to see, because like when you have a big screen like this, it really does change the lighting in the room. We joked at work that when you would walk into someone's cube and their screen was like this, and all of a sudden they saw you walk in and it went like that, it was like you were just looking at the internet and now you're going back to your screen. You're pretending I don't care. Why do you do that? So I think we need like the inverse of that. The inverse of your supervisor walking into your cube. All right. But that's the biggest, that's my big note. I think everything else is looking pretty good. Yeah. And maybe some influence from the flashing light on these cans back there. Just like a little reflection in there. All right. All right, Jordan, demo real time. And I know you were worried about the music, but like this is literally how I would watch it. Normally, I wouldn't have the music on. So somebody mentioned the subsurface in this shot, and I think that's true because like, it just gets a little it gets a little heavy at some stages, and like around his screen left cheek right in here, it gets a little greenish. But in terms of the demo reel itself, it's a good intro. I would also throw in, make it like a second longer, also put in your contact info. This was something that recruiters have said to me when they were talking about this stuff. It's like right now the goal of this is for them to be aware of you and then reach out to you. So let's not they hate when people bury their contact info, because it's like they just want to, and it would just be like I would basically, you could just put your email and or like just put your email address and phone number on there.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That.
Okay.
So I guess the one question is, I was thinking like, because it would take me a while to render out the fix for Aang.
Mm-hmm.
Could I go ahead and start like job hunting and then update the Vimeo when I update the end piece, but still start?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
A couple other things about the reel itself is the font, the text in the bottom left. Two things about it. One, it feels stretched. It feels like it's been elongated. Especially like if you look at the word shading, like the A feels like it's longer than it should be. Also, like, and this is a tough one, and this is a really, really dumb thing, but a lot of us we're trained in the film style, which is you have to really be careful. There's like title safe, action safe. And if you've ever seen a screen with like these like corners on it, they'll be like this and they'll be like this. It's because you are like, depending on the monitor, things used to often get cropped. So you never wanted to put them right in the corner there. And some people still have an issue with that. So I would just take this stuff and nudge it up that way a little bit. It's a really dumb one and it's really funny, but just like it still can cause some old school people who are still in supervisor roles to react to that and to think that that's going to cause a problem, even though no one's looking at this on a television screen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it before.
Yeah. Say, let's see. So when you used to work, you'd see stuff like this, and it's like you would know on the different. This is a good one. So you would know on different screens that anything outside of here would possibly get cut off, and then title safe you'd keep inside 80%, just to make sure it's not right up against the edge of that stuff. So. And like I said, you can still see it in some software, but just in case you have to. And like I said, so it would just be a matter of, and like it doesn't have to be much. You don't have to be inside that 80% range, just like not right on the edge. Super.
Okay.
Low.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, for these last two. I think you can make this not a fade to black. I almost feel like this could just be a cut to black, and then start building it in. It's just something about it's just something about the fade that slows down the pace of it. I think it could just be cut. So cut. There's
A quick thing there.
Yeah.
You were talking about the lettering. Just when it goes on the breakdown, and then it's the black stripe on the bottom goes right by the B on the breakdown. I would just make sure that is either centered on the black or I don't know, but a little bit my art direction coming through.
That works. That's a good call. And then and then I was just saying, on this breakdown, it felt like just double check the timing and make sure that they're evenly spaced. Just because and I can't tell if it's my playback or like it goes. Like that one,
you're right.
Like that one feels longer than the others.
Yeah, I was getting so tired editing this. I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll fix that.
That happens. And I
will
mentioned.
oh, sorry.
No. I mentioned this in Aaron's too. So I think that when you have too much reference, it can be confused. Like it's when I first looked at this, it's a lot to process in a very short period of time. So I would suggest limiting this to one or two. I think that this one doesn't really. I think this applies. I think this one is the most applicable, and then like maybe another with the darker skin tones, and like that's all you really need. because anytime it's like 6, it's like, okay, so what are you pulling from each one? It's not a problem. And then the last thing I had was for this one, somebody mentioned it too. Don't forget the titles on this as well. I don't think you should put the reference in this one because I think it looks too different from the reference.
Oh, okay.
Because I think like the black points are different. The shaping on the character's face is different than the reference. So I think having the reference in here actually hurts you more than it helps you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, cut the reference entirely. What do you mean by titles? You said something about titles?
Yeah. Oh, look, you put your demo... Did you put that in while I was away? That's funny. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, for what?
Put in the email and the phone number at the end. I was like,
Wait.
woo! No, I'm just kidding. You have lighting shading compositing here in these.
Oh,
And then you don't
yeah.
have that in the last one.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, like the timing of it's good. Everything else is good. The project lengths are good. Like, it's all good. It's just making some tweaks. And
Cool.
yeah, and then it'll just be a matter like send it out now. Keep working on projects. As new stuff comes in, you replace the old stuff, and things just get better and better.
What do you think about it? Like, do you think it's, I guess, good for junior roles? Like, what are your honest thoughts on it?
I think it's good for junior roles. I think you can. I seeing what you've been doing lately. I think it'll get better. I don't think it's like. I think it's a good reel. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's a wow reel yet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I think.
Yeah.
I think it shows range. I think it shows competence. I think it shows the ability to get there. It's just like sometimes it's there. It's just like it'll get you into the yes category in terms of like, yeah, maybe we bring this guy in for an interview. There's yes and then there's hell yes, right? It's just not in the hell yes yet, but we'll get there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Let's hop into... All right, we got some stills. All right. So, Ayako... Brenda, you're here. I thought I saw you. Hello. All right, so we've got some more shaping. The color scheme is still really good on this. I think the sky is too saturated was my first thought when I looked at this. Just mock this up. I think we can pull that back into this range a little bit. And it still works as something a little bit cooler, but it just doesn't... It allows the saturation on the buildings to stand out a little bit more. That might be a little too desaturated, but somewhere more like in there. I think that'll complement the warm tones of the building nicely. I think otherwise it just feels like the saturation might be a little bit over cranked. The shadows the shadows inside here are a little bit on the, and it's a combination of probably the blue with the yellow wall. But I would push those a little bluer, in here, and a little less green. So I mean, you can even do that in the comp where you just like grab this area and suck out a little bit of the yellow color.
Okay.
Well,
that because I was like the shadows at the pink building look like purple and there they look green and I was like
yeah it's the downside of having a really nice color scheme on your buildings is that these colors start to when they mix together they're not always they don't always play nice. I think that we can add a little ambient occlusion over on this side of the screen. I think like especially on this door it feels a little bit flat and lifted, and I would like to see a little more contact shadow around the edges and then down here. I think that would be really good.
Okay.
Trying to think what else. This is looking good though. This. Looking at the plants. We could probably get a little bit more. Like this light feels bright here on this one. And then I think that on this one especially, it feels like it could use a little bit more of like a broad speck on top of them to make them feel a little more like waxy, because these leaves plants are super waxy and they're super reflective, more than you'd ever think. So I would just add a little bit in there just to kind of break up because there's the reason why I'm saying that is that parts of this shape start to fuse together into like one mass, and you kind of want to make sure that they're still reading as individual leaves.
Okay.
But that's all I got, really. There's a weird shape here too. I don't know what that is. It's like there's a oh, you know what that is? That is me, actually. I did that. That is from the sky. Don't ignore that. Bad note. That was my bad note. All right. But yeah, I think everything else is good here. Do you guys see anything else? Any other notes? Yeah, good stuff. All right, Dani, we've got a couple here from you. Start with the robot. The eyes look better. I think that I'm getting less of the scratchy eye feeling. And that's good. I think... Yeah, lighting looks a little better. It's still funny. Like this light right here in the middle of the character, I think it's just because it's, you know what the problem is that it's a reflective character, and it just feels, because I keep looking at it like, oh, there's a light source right here. That's what's causing that reflection in right here. And so I almost think there's a chance we can't get away with it. And we might need to actually put a light in, like an actual interior light into the scene to kind of sell that a little bit more, and like maybe put some on her and stuff. What do you think?
If I take off the specularity from the light itself,
Mm-hmm.
so that there won't be reflection,
Mm-hmm.
and it will just light its face up.
It would have to be
around it.
It would have to, maybe it's roughing up the reflections, or broadening the light. I don't know. Maybe it's just making the radius of the light much bigger, and then turning off the specularity on the because then it would just be like a big old reflection there. Take off and then maybe take down some of the specularity on the light itself. We'll see. Yeah, keep playing with it though. It's a tricky one because of that, and then let's see how that let's get that nailed in first, and then I think because after that we might. Because I think the shaping on the girl is good, and I think that you've been hitting, and I think you hit the notes really well. Just think that. Oh, for you. Just wondering if she, and I know we've toned her down, but like just like a little bit more out of her. Yeah, and then the other thing I would do, and this is get a little bit more gradient in the sky. So it's just like, because it is a very large chunk of screen real estate, that I would have it get a little bit. Actually, I'd look at reference because I don't know if this is true off the top of my head. I think it gets darker towards the horizon at night. I think it gets a little brighter up towards the moon, but just darken it as we go down.
Cool.
All right. And
do you think that I was just wondering, the robot should be more affected by the book light, by the blue of the book light?
Yeah, probably.
Like on the on the wall on the left it's pretty blue from that light, but the robot gets almost nothing from it.
Cool. I'll fix it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's hop into this one. Did you add, like, there's some rays of light or something? Like, is that from a shadow? What is that?
I put a gobo.
Nice.
I put a gobo of noise in the spotlight.
Yeah, I like that it's there. I think the shapes are too small. I would just kind of make them like a little broader, just because they're starting to feel a little bit tight. Brightness can come down just a touch more, 5 to 10% more. But
on the highlight on the floor or on the general?
on the general, on actually this interior, the brighter interior spotlight, I should say that.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I think the rest of it's feeling pretty good.
Cool.
Any thoughts on this one, guys? And
I really like the glow
yeah.
effect. Yeah.
And I think we talked about taking down the brightness on this painting over here. I would also maybe pull back on the saturation a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because I just don't want it to, I just don't want it to stand out that much. But I like that it's there. All right, cool. Justin. So this is total. This is the cheesy part of my brain, and I'm probably gonna regret saying this out loud. But I was like, I wonder if it would be like at some point if you want to go for the reference of putting like the cracked paint on top of everything, but I don't know. I think maybe it's more just about the color reference on this. But I saw it, I was like, ooh, that'd be kind of fun. But it just might end up looking like some cheesy Photoshop or Instagram filter. Overall, these colors are good. Yeah, it's feeling good. I think the thing that I would do is I would rough up some of the specular highlights on some of these elements, just because like the look of this one feels like a little bit matter, a little bit softer, and like the lamp, the areas that I'm seeing are like the lamp, this bookcase, and then the clock, and then this right here are, especially the lamp because it's like dead center of the screen. It feels like super metally compared to like everything else, like the way that it's a softer spec on the cello, and I know these are brighter lights, but it's just like I just want to kind of soften it a little bit to match a little bit more in here. Dark points in the foreground look better. Wondering, and I'm just looking outside this window here. Yeah, it's fine. No, I would say it looked like the outside feels a little bit brighter, but I think actually the overall the image as a whole overall feels a little bit brighter. So I think that matches. It does feel like there's like a haze on the window itself. I don't know how to explain that. Maybe it's just the amount of blur that's out there, but I think I would just take that down a little bit more. You guys, any other thoughts on this one? No, that's good. All right, Lamise, I'll come back here to you. Mauro, I think is here. Yes. Hey, Mauro. Oh, I meant to pull in.
Hi.
How's it going?
I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
If you can hear me.
I can hear you.
I'm on my cell phone. Okay. Hi all.
Hello. I wanted to pull in your reference here too. Okay. Cool. So we got the reference, and yeah. So this wall looks a lot better. This looks really cool. There's something like purple down here almost.
Oh yes, I put like a pink light with specular there, so I can change it.
I like that there's some color infused in there. It's just that it's a little bit broad. Like if it was a little bit, if it was a little bit less, I think it would be good.
Okay.
Looking up at around this area and the ceiling, I think that looks really good. The glow around the window looks good. There's there's a really tight shadow here. I would just, whatever light is causing that, I would soften that a little bit.
Oh, okay. I think it's a key light.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because it's like it's softer throughout the rest of it. It's just right in there. And then for the girl, I would take down this. It looks like there's like a little bit of a rim light on her shoulder.
Yeah.
I would go ahead and take that down a little bit because it's really you can and like right here under her neck, you can sell a rim light in most circumstances. When she's leaning against a door in a dark room like this, it's tougher. So I think we really should rely more on this screen right light. And then just because of the softness of the scene, we should be very leery of like these little dots. And like on her glasses too. And just making sure that it's not because I think it's like I think there's some dust over top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take those down and soften those a little bit because yeah, it's like you don't like everything about this scene feels soft and you don't want to interrupt that with sharp shapes. So you just gotta be careful.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Everything else is good.
One thing, and I guess the art director and me again, is that the two little windows on the door are off-centered. The one on the left is like almost at the edge, and the one on the right is not really. So I'll just make them both the same. I don't know, distance from the edge.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't make the model. Yeah, but I'm going to try to fix it.
Yeah, just get in there and shift it. Actually, yeah. But other than that, I think it's going well.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Rick. We will come back to yours. Ruby. I think it's good. I'll let everyone marinate on it for a second and then see if anybody has any notes. Are we good? Ready? Got everyone hands ready? Are they warmed up? Okay, good. Hey! All right, good job. All right, really good job, Ruby, on both of these. They look great. All right, Stephanie. Sorry, Ruby. We are now 43 minutes in, and it was a quick clap for you, but I hope it was worth it. All right, Stephanie. Updated version, previous. Very, very cool. Love the grunginess. You've added a new element to it. Like it's just, the breakup in here. I think is looking good. You said you put the chair in the middle as a like kind of more focusing on that. I don't necessarily like get the read that I should be looking at this chair, but what I do like is the variation and like the kind of the more focused energy in general, and the fact that there's variation within it, I think is super successful. I did just want to answer. You had a question about like how do I get the hazy look over there? And one of the things that you do when you ask yourself, when you figure that stuff out, is like you need to break down the thing that you're trying to do into visual components. And you're like, what is the thing that I'm trying to do? And you look at it, you're like, oh, it's just really soft. There's not a lot of contrast. There's not a lot of saturation in there. It's just kind of like the edges are just really soft. So break the thing down that you want to do. Like, because oftentimes you're like, I just need to make this look more like a palm tree. And then like, that's the way your brain thinks. And then you need to stop yourself and be like, okay, what does that mean? Like, turn off what you know about something. Turn off what you know about crusty windows or glow or whatever. And then like, just look at it objectively as a visual thing. And so like, you're like, okay, so I just have too many, there's a little bit too much contrast in there, and the edges of these are a little bit too perfect. So you're like, okay, so let me just grab. So what area do I want to do something to? Let's say I want to just do something to these, maybe all the windows. Ooh. My computer just made all kinds of noises. Like you're like, okay, so I'm gonna work in just that area. I need it to be softer. So let's just like, and again, this is my same ghetto technique of like, okay, let's make it softer. That means blurrier. We're gonna take this, but I don't want it to blur everything. I just kind of want to layer it over the top by just adding some softness into it. So we'll go ahead and screen this in, and then now we're getting some more glowiness to it. We're getting some softness on those edges. I think something like this would help, and then in the comp or Photoshop, if you can do what's it's called an edge blur, and it's nothing that crazy technical. It's basically isolating the edge of the image between the render and the backplate, and just blurring those pixels like by 2 or 3 pixels. And what that does is, because like in CG renders, there are very clean cut lines of distinction between things. There's like, this is the wall, and then this is outside, and they just butt up against each other. It's like this pixel is X, this pixel is Y. And in photography, you can see that like the way we don't see things in those quite that tight of distinctions. There's like a couple, a very small area where things overlap. So that's what you want to get into. You want to, and actually I just did it on your previous version. Sorry. Do it in here. So again, like if we want to do all these windows, I would take this, copy paste, just duplicate the same blur, screen this over the top, and tone it down. And now, and really it's just about softening that. So less contrast, less, like a little bit of blurred in the lines. You always want to check the black points. You want to check the colors. Again, think about these problems as technical as you can without thinking of them as a thing, right? So it's like when you're looking at skin, it's like, okay, so what, is there peach fuzz? Are there freckles? Are there scars? Is there symmetry? Like, look at it from that angle. So really, really, really good progress on this one. All right, let's go through a few others. We have Ayako. This is really, like, again, this is really, really pretty. I think the biggest thing is there's a in the reference, there's a bit of a kind of a greenish color to the shadows. And so I think we might want to add that in with a little bit of fill light if you want. Or it doesn't necessarily have to be greenish, but I think we need a little bit more value in some of these, in some of the shadows down there. Not a lot, because it is darks, but just a small amount. And then I know it works well here, but the blackness outside the window, the darkness, it's also like there's a little bit more ramp out here than this. It just feels a little bit, it feels like a CG scene. Anytime you look out a window and just see like emptiness, it doesn't quite feel right. So I would put a little gradient back there or something. And then like some small things. The spec on this horn is a little high, but I like the shader on that. Same thing, probably a little bright on the spec there. I love the idea that like this is all lit by this one light here. I think that works really well. Super minor. It looks like this map might be penetrating that edge there. I'll just nudge that over. Any other thoughts, guys? I think this looks good. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, Lemise, welcome back. A couple things. What, like, there's some hard lines. There's like an edge line right down here. And I haven't done anything yet, so this one wasn't my fault. But there's a little bit of a hard line there. I like the value between the outside and the inside. I think that's working out well. I love these bright patches that you're getting on the ground here. This area with these blocks, like look how pretty that is with the bounce light coming up in here and kind of filling those in, getting a little bit of the speck on those things. It's working really, really well. with the framing, I think we can probably go with a little bit of a vignette and kind of darken a little bit more on the inside here to keep our focus on the center. One of the things that we've noticed with this robot is, two things about it. Number one is his red skin or his red shader is feeling a little bit on the orange side here. I would just kind of shift that a little bit to make it more of like a true red color. Just on the skin, or just on the red parts, because you really wanted to read that through. The other thing are his eyes are the major trick to him. So like right now he's looking dead straight. We want his gaze. If he's reading the book, it looks like he just read the most shocking thing of his life and he just picked his head up like, whoa. So like he should either be looking down at the book or maybe that's his pose. But I think that in a daylight scene like this, his eye whites can come up a little bit brighter. But those are my big ones from this. And then if you want, you might add a little bit of translucency through these curtains. They're thick, so they wouldn't be much, but just like that is a lot of light behind them. There would be a little bit of pop through there. All right. And then last up we have Rick. Sure, yeah, no. So this is the previous version. This is the updated version. I think so having this on the ground actually helped more than I was giving it credit. By taking that away, now we've kind of lost a little bit. But I think the bigger thing, and Austin actually did a really good job of this, of having like a ripple in the water, just like a really subtle one. And I think that'll, because like the thing that I'm reacting to is just like the very straight, perfect lines. And I know that like pools don't get a lot of wake. Like there's not a current. There's not like, there's not a lot blowing around in there, but I think just like a little ripple would help. Also, overall, my biggest reaction to this is that we're just, there's a lot of lifted values. Like if you look at just the levels here in Photoshop, there's really nothing, in the bottom third to half in terms of the dark pixel range. Now, I don't think we need a lot because this is a brighter scene, but I do think that there's a lot of, I think there's a lot more range that we can pull, especially from like if we're keeping this as the bright side, there's room for it to fall off and get darker as we go to the screen right side. Additionally, things like there would be a little light wrap around the edge, but like this wall in here is not getting directly hit by the light that's coming in outside. So that can go darker. Like this corner over here can get darker. In fact, let me go ahead and open Ruby's from yesterday. Or I'm sorry, Austin's from yesterday. So like it's a similar brightness, and there's some interior light here that we don't have to worry about with yours, but like this brightness, but there's also a dark corner there, and then it kind of falls off as we go along this way, and this was kind of the ripple that I was talking about. So I think something like that would be good. So because I think this brightness is good to just fall off a little bit. Yeah, and then we'll go from there. But all right, any other questions or anything before we break for the day? I think you guys are good. All right. Thank you guys so much for everything.
Thank you.
Let's see. And then, yes, reminder, next week I'm out for actually the next week and the week after. I am introducing my daughter to my family, which she's 9 months old and hasn't met most of my family yet. And so I'm really, really excited about that. And also I have I'm turning 40 in that range too. So got that going on. So we're taking some time. We're going to travel. I'm going to get on a plane and go to Texas to visit my family, which like I said, I haven't been on a plane in a very long time. So I'm excited about all the things. trying to figure out how to get 2 kids on an airplane. That's our goal for the week. I have no idea how to do that. It's just like, I guess you just, I don't know, you just throw them on, give them an iPad, see what happens. At least the older one. The younger one, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be. Other people do it. I'm sure it'll be fine. But all right, guys, be good. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you all very soon.
That's fine.
All right, bye.
Bye.